Hi, welcome to the internship orientation. We are going to start today talking about who the supervisors are. So our faculty supervisors are myself. My name is Jen Presley, Professor Presley, the undergraduate internship director. We also have Professor Erica Thompson. She is our doctoral student and is the internship TA and will be supervising many of you this semester. Professor James Breeding is our SPAD faculty instructor, and Professor Anita Mormon is our graduate internship director. So if you are a graduate student, you will be working exclusively with Professor Mormon. If you are an undergraduate, you will be either with myself, Professor Presley, Erica Thompson, or James Breeding. We would also like to introduce you to Hannah. Hannah is our master's student, and she's going to be working with us this semester on social media and marketing as it relates to our internships. So you may be receiving a message from Hannah Bailey this semester. And if you do, please be responsive because she is going to be promoting all the wonderful things that you're doing at your internship site on our SPAD social media. Here's what we really look like today because we're all virtual. We would like to let you know that there's many organizations that we're working with this semester. So you as a student may be at one of these that you see on the screen, but we have lots and lots of interns this semester, the most we've had in any semester. So we'd like to welcome you and the wonderful internship site that you're likely working at. So today we're going to just talk briefly about the expectations of this class. So we break it into two categories, which is assignments and professionalism. So when we're looking at assignments, it's important to note that this isn't just an internship that you get, you do the hours and get the credit. We do also have course requirements. Some of those course requirements are watching this orientation and then completing the orientation quiz, turning in your bi-weekly timesheets and activity logs, and also demonstrating that you have some current industry knowledge by associating what you've done with your work at the internship site, utilizing the Sport Business Journal. We do have a major project that's required in this internship. It's split into three parts. The first part that you will submit will be your organization and an analysis of that organization, and then also a proposal, which I'll talk more about in a moment. Then you also will turn in a progress report and then the final product. In addition to that, we will send an evaluation via email to your site supervisor. We also, at the end of the semester, require that you do an assessment of your experience at your internship and also a reflection on the project that you complete for this class. And then there's a presentation and a final exit meeting. It's important to note that you must complete all assignments in order to receive a passing grade in this course. So please pay attention to the dates and deadlines. This is the mandatory orientation that you're listening to now, and you will have to complete an orientation quiz. In addition to that, a Sport Business Journal subscription is required, and then the rest of the dates for the rest of the semester are listed here. You can also find these in the syllabus and the internship handbook, excuse me. So I want to talk briefly about the timesheets and activity logs. So these go together. You will turn them in together. They are due every other Monday on Blackboard. You will get points deducted if you don't turn them in correctly and if you don't turn them in together. So please be cognizant about doing that. In addition, we are only allowing a maximum of 40 hours per week to count toward your total number of hours. Some of you might be doing, if you're an undergraduate, you might be doing 150 hours. If you're an undergraduate, you might be doing the complete 300, or graduate students also do 300 hours. So a max total of 40 hours per week. Now, if you work 50 or 60 hours, please mark that on your internship timesheet. But note that 40 hours is what will be allowed per week. Your activity log is a log of what you did during the time of that you submit your timesheet. It must be single spaced, one page, and a summary of the activities that you did in those 2 weeks. In addition to that, so here's an example of a activity journal that's on the right-hand side. So you can read and note that the first 3 paragraphs are about what this particular student did at their internship site during the 46.5 hours that they worked. At the bottom, you'll see that it says, I am associating this particular work with an article that I found in the Sport Business Journal. So what we're expecting you to do is review the Sport Business Journal and find something that associates with what you're doing at your work site. Now, sometimes you won't find the exact thing. For example, this particular student is working with field hockey, and this week was working the Field Hockey National Championship. And you see at the bottom that the article that this student read was about the World Cup. Not the exact thing, but if you can find something that is in the industry. And the reason we do this is because our industry partners have asked that students are more up to date on some of the current events that are happening in the industry. And this is a good way for you to really stay in touch with what's going on in the industry. So you also see here the timesheet. It's important that you put your name, where you're working, the number of your timesheet, and then also that it's signed by you and also signed by your site supervisor. So the person that you're working with at your internship site that is making sure to confirm these hours. Also be sure that you total it to make sure that we know the total number of hours that you've completed. We will enter those into Blackboard and that'll show up in the approved hours line. And then we'll review both your timesheets and activity logs every other week and update those hours. So make sure you submit these on Blackboard. Please use this document notification. They are due every other Monday. So after you work 2 weeks, then you'll turn them in that following Monday. If you have Mormon, then you'll put Mormon timesheet 1 and the date. If you're with Presley, Thompson, or Breeding, same thing. And then we will review those timesheets and activity logs. Make sure that they have either original signatures and or electronic signatures. You can also do photos. A lot of students will take photos and upload those of your timesheets. Those are also accepted. Once you've completed your 150 and or 300 hours, you no longer have to submit a timesheet or an activity journal, but you do need to complete your internship. So if you said you're going to work through May, even if you finish your hours in April, you must stay and work through May. So the major project, which I mentioned earlier, is kind of the main assignment for this class. You want to make sure that when you're thinking about your major project, that it's something that's in addition to your normal duties and your normal expectations as an intern. When we're thinking about our major project, it's basically something that is important and significant to your organization, the organization that you're working for, and it also adds value to that organization. So when you're thinking about this project, the best place to start is communicate with your site supervisor, and perhaps they have something that's on the back burner that they've been wanting to do. And they will say, oh, I really want you to look at some research of different ACC schools and how they're creating social media campaigns for their soccer programs. If you were working with U of L soccer, for example. This project has 3 parts. The first part that you submit, just look at the dates really quick, that you will submit by February 14th. The first part is the organizational analysis. So that's just an overview of where you're working. This organizational analysis rubric and expectations can be found in the internship handbook on Blackboard under course content. So you're going to tell us about the organization and then also what is this proposed project. So it's maybe about a paragraph or 2 explaining what this project is that you're going to do. The second part of it is a progress report. So halfway through the semester, you're going to update your faculty supervisor on how the work is coming along, and then give us kind of a detailed outline of where you are and what you still have to complete. And then your final project will be turned in 2 parts. It's an executive summary and then all the components of your major project. So some examples of major projects that we've had in recently. We had somebody do some research on all of the different NIL policies in the different states related to name, image, and likeness for the ACC. So that was more of a research project. Oftentimes we have events that people will put on, students will put on, new events. So Make It Monday was a new event that a student had put on. When you do an event for this project, it's really important that you think about what are all the components that go into creating that event, and capturing all of that throughout the stages of the event planning process. That way, we, as your supervisors, can really understand all of the work that you have put into this project. Another example, Racing Louisville, we had an intern there last semester who was looking at their inaugural season and doing player profiles for each of those athletes. And this is the final example of a major project was the Spalding University Digital Media Guide that was used to promote their athletic department through digital media. So when we're looking at these major projects, they need to be professional, organized, well assembled. They need to follow the format and the rubric. So use the internship handbook to help you with the format and the rubric that we are expecting. Also very significant and relevant to the organization, or adding some kind of value to that organization. Or oftentimes, sometimes these projects are effectively overcoming some kind of obstacle, or maybe you see an inefficiency that's happening within the organization and you're going to figure out how to solve that problem or handle or manage that inefficiency. So make sure that it's really significant to your internship site specifically. And then of course we want it to be a representative of your quality of work. And I always tell students, think about if you left and the project stayed, would somebody else be able to pick it up and understand exactly what happened? And could they duplicate or replicate it easily? And finally, we want you to consider professionalism in the workplace. We want you to be professional at all times. You are representing not only the sport administration program, but also the College of Education and Human Development and the University of Louisville. Many of these internships, site supervisors have been working with us for years and years. So please be thoughtful and respectful and professional when you are working at this organization. It's important that you communicate with your supervisor, both your site supervisor and your faculty supervisor. Make sure that you know their preferred method of communication. It may be a text message, or it may be email, or they might like video conferencing or phone, depending on if you're working remotely. So be thoughtful about that. Dress appropriate to your site and the activity that you're going to be doing. If you're doing events, it's more likely that you might be wearing tennis shoes and a polo. If you're working in a professional office setting, just be thoughtful about how you're dressing and dress appropriately based on what you see others in the office dressing like. And then also when you're in your internship site, don't just be the intern on the 3rd floor, right? Make sure that you introduce yourself, get to know your the colleagues that you're working with, the other employees that are working there, so that they know your name and you're not just the intern on the 3rd floor. Be positive, be energetic, and say yes, because oftentimes interns are asked to do things that maybe aren't your favorite job, but you're going to learn something from that job. It may happen that there would be a problem that arises. So general issues and concerns do happen. Please do not get fired, but it could happen that you are dissatisfied with your experience or that you have some type of issue that comes up. Please let your faculty supervisor, Mormon, Thompson, Breeding, or I know that if there is an issue, the last thing that we want is to get a phone call from somebody saying there's a problem with this intern. But if you are dissatisfied with your experience, try to turn it into a positive and recognize that some experiences may not be ideal for you, but there are great learning opportunities, even if the experience isn't your favorite. So try to turn the negative into a positive. But again, if there's a major concern, please let us know and we will handle it accordingly. Our top priority is your safety, health, and well-being. So if you have any concerns related to COVID-19 policies, please let us know. Your internship, you should follow the internship requirements at your organization. So it might not be exactly the same as what we are doing at the University of Louisville or what you're used to, but please follow the policies that your organization provides you. If you are concerned about your health, well-being, or safety, please let us know as soon as possible. Of course, we want it to be safe for you, and we want your experience to be a great learning experience. And finally, it's important that you add these experiences to your resume. So we aren't requiring you to do and update your resume, but I would encourage you to add each of the experiences that you are doing this semester onto your resume. And then if you want to do a resume review before you complete your internship prior to getting into the workforce or applying for jobs, any of us are happy to do a resume review with you to try to help and add the experiences that you're getting from your internship onto your current and up-to-date resume. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. If you have any questions, please let us know and we'd be happy to help you as you move through this experience. If you have any additional questions, just shoot an email to your faculty supervisor and they will answer those questions for you. Thank you so much.